Really odd because the article that talks about it really just focuses on a donation she made like 6 years ago. A donation she made because they got married at a plantation and it looked really bad. She's done a lot of weird racist stuff. So to right that wrong, she gave a donation 6 years ago. And that's why apparently she's on this.
To be called influential, it's not only an honor, it's a significant responsibility. It's an interesting thing to be called influential. It's not only an honor, it's a significant responsibility. How we use that matters. Who and what we stand up for and what we stay silent about matters.
I'm definitely hoping for some sort of a selfie in the distance with both Blake Lively and Meghan Markle, since they provided me with so many hours of content.
In the latest twist in what's already become one of Hollywood's ugliest behind-the-scenes dramas, fashion powerhouse Anna Wintour has allegedly dropped the hammer on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
I'm taking a moment to really process and accept the fact she used this as an opportunity to now try to paint herself as a survivor. To all the survivors who watch, I know we have a lot in our audience. I'd like to hear your comments. Please, if there's a video you comment on, please share your comments. I may actually share some of them in a future video. How do you feel after Miss Blake Lively is now putting herself as the face of survivors and women? Now, I want to go through the real speech. Here's the entire toast. Thank you so much for having me tonight. It's as an honoree amongst you all, as well as those who've come before, is surreal and deeply significant. In a time where the most valuable currency seems to be anger, it feels like an act of defiance to commune and celebrate all the good that is alive in the world. And the many here tonight who either challenge the system and or show us the magic exists on Earth in their gifts, talents, bravery, art, and life, or anybody rich enough to have sway to get this award for giving a donation 6 years ago because you got married on a plantation. I added that part. That was.
According to insiders, Wintour claims the power couple aggressively lobbied or flat out bullied their way onto the prestigious Time 100 list. Not for Ryan, but for Blake. And the alleged reason? Damage control, because Blake's reputation right now is circling the drain. Let's be honest, this isn't just about some vanity award. This is about optics, about cleaning up the mess that Lively allegedly made by hijacking the production of It Ends With Us right out from under Justin Baldoni, the director who was supposed to lead the project.
On Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence. And was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it. At the Reynolds penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative, and her biggest takeaway was it was so nasty. And to the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere. And that what in fact happened was you guys were the ones out there generating negative press against Justin. You guys were the ones who were trying to ruin Justin.
Instead, Blake reportedly muscled him out of creative control, turning what should have been a collaborative process into the Blake Lively show, whether anyone wanted it or not. And now, with lawsuits flying and headlines stacking up, Wintour's alleged claims about the Time 100 stunt are just pouring gasoline on an already blazing fire.
Another bombshell, and this time it is pertaining to the New York Times. Amazing that you're not going to believe this, okay? It looks like Justin Baldoni may have a very strong case against the New York Times. Ryan and Blake and two other of her friends all staged a mass unfollowing of Joe Alwyn like they were 13 years old. Okay, Ryan, you're 48 years old. Grow up.
You did not know both of their lawsuits have been consolidated into one legal showdown instead of these two separate lawsuits.
If true, it paints a brutal picture of the lengths Blake and Ryan are willing to go to keep their public image shiny and unbothered, while the wreckage piles up behind the scenes. But the bullying accusations are just the latest chapter in this Hollywood horror story. Because what really went down on the It Ends With Us set? Let's talk about how this whole mess started in the first place.
From Armie Hammer, who got fired from Gossip Girl because he said during a dinner that she was a bitch, regarding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, when I just recognized that they are up on their high horses and that they potentially treat people very bad, that they were plotting with the New York Times for months to smear him. And there may be some important evidence.
The kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, documents, which prove exactly what she did to take over the movie.
By now, the rumors about Blake Lively's on-set behavior during It Ends With Us have spread like wildfire. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. This wasn't just a case of an actress giving her input. No, according to people who were there, this was a full-blown power grab. Sources close to the production say that Lively didn't just make suggestions.
The conclusion here, I have said this since before, long before this ever broke out between her and Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person.
There's just so much more to this story, and the media's already like self-flagellating. Oh, we were too mean to Blake. And now you see text messages from Blake Lively comparing herself. She's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
I have no idea on what grounds these two are going to attempt to dismiss his lawsuit. I could understand some possible arguments that her publicist might make and fail, because I told you, he's got evidence.
She allegedly steamrolled through the creative process, stepping on director Justin Baldoni at every turn. Word is, she demanded rewrites, challenged shot lists, and even refused to perform certain scenes unless they were done her way. The vibe on set? Absolutely toxic. Crew members have described the environment as tense, awkward, and unbearable, with one insider claiming the energy was so bad that several key team members almost walked off the project entirely. And here's the kicker. This wasn't Blake's movie to direct. She signed on as the star, not the shot caller. But if the reports are true, she allegedly acted like the CEO of the entire production. Justin Baldoni, who brought this project to life and had been championing the adaptation for years, was left sidelined in his own film. One source even claimed that by the middle of shooting, Baldoni might as well have not even been there. The power dynamics weren't just off, they were broken. And when the lead actress decides she's also the director, the producer, and the final say on every creative decision, that's not leadership. That's a hostile takeover. But the set drama was just the beginning. What happened next would drag this ugly situation straight into the courtroom. By the end of 2024, the whispers and on-set chaos turned into full-blown legal warfare. Blake Lively didn't just make headlines for her alleged diva behavior, she went straight for the nuclear option. In December, she filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, accusing him of SH and claiming that he orchestrated a calculated smear campaign to destroy her career. The allegations were explosive. But Baldoni didn't back down, not for a second. Instead, he came back swinging with a countersuit. And this wasn't some slap on the wrist. Baldoni filed for $400 million in damages, accusing Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist of defamation, manipulation, and civil extortion. According to Baldoni's legal team, Lively's lawsuit wasn't about justice. It was about revenge, a desperate attempt to shift blame and crush Baldoni's career after she allegedly torched the project from the inside out. Court documents leaked to the press described a tangled mess of text messages, emails, and behind-the-scenes power plays that read like the plot of a soap opera. Baldoni's camp claims that Lively and Reynolds tried to blackball him in Hollywood, warning off collaborators, bad-mouthing him to producers, and using their star power to spin the narrative in their favor. But here's where it gets even uglier, because this wasn't just about Baldoni and Lively. The countersuit also directly named Ryan Reynolds and the couple's PR machine, alleging that the entire campaign against Baldoni was coordinated, not spontaneous, not emotional, but strategic, calculated. One source close to the legal battle didn't hold back, saying, they thought they could bury him. They thought their names alone would keep people quiet. But Justin wasn't going to roll over. As the court dates loom and the legal drama heats up, Hollywood insiders are asking the same question. Just how far did Blake and Ryan really go to keep their grip on the narrative, but the couple's star-studded inner circle isn't staying? Out of it, either. Some of the biggest names in entertainment are now being dragged into the mess, whether they like it or not. If you thought this lawsuit was just between Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and Ryan Reynolds, think again, because the fallout from this disaster is pulling in some of the biggest names in the industry. And at the top of that list, Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman. Taylor has long been one of Blake's closest friends. They've done holidays together, exchanged gushy social media love letters, and even dressed their kids in matching outfits. But now, sources claim Swift is on the subpoena list, potentially being called to testify about what really went down behind the scenes. Why Taylor? Because insiders say she wasn't just sitting on the sidelines. Allegedly, Swift may have had first-hand knowledge of the smear campaign Lively and Reynolds were orchestrating against Baldoni, or at least heard the couple bragging about how they plan to take control of the film's public perception. And then there's Hugh Jackman. A longtime buddy and frequent collaborator with Ryan Reynolds, Jackman's name has also surfaced in the court filings. Legal experts suggest he may be forced to weigh in on the couple's alleged backdoor efforts to freeze out Baldoni and spin the story their way. Remember, Jackman and Reynolds worked together on multiple projects, and Hollywood circles are small, especially when egos this big are involved. One insider put it bluntly. Taylor and Hugh might hold the keys to proving just how much Blake and Ryan weaponized their connections to control the press and kill Baldoni's reputation. It's the last thing either Swift or Jackman probably want, being dragged into someone else's legal disaster. But when your best friends allegedly burn down a director's career, staying neutral might not be an option. And the public? They're eating it up. But what's even more shocking is how Blake's own brand moves have only made things worse. While Blake Lively might have been busy playing chess behind the scenes, the court of public opinion has been playing its own game. And it hasn't been kind. Because as the lawsuit drama blew up, fans started connecting the dots. And the picture they're seeing? It's not flattering. Blake's entire promotional strategy for It Ends With Us, a movie about domestic violence and emotional trauma, somehow turned into a personal branding tour. Instead of letting the story speak for itself, Lively used the press tour to launch a hair care line and plug her alcohol brand. Yeah, let that sink in. A film about abuse survivors promoted with shampoo and booze. The tone deafness of it all hit hard, especially among fans of the original novel. Social media was quick to call out the disconnect, with comments like, "Did she even read the book?" And "Why is Blake making this about herself?" trending across TikTok and Twitter. Survivors and advocates chimed in too, blasting the move as disrespectful and wildly inappropriate, and it didn't stop there. Blake's PR team allegedly worked overtime to spin the narrative, controlling interviews, limiting journalist access, and steering conversations away from the lawsuit and her alleged takeover of the film. But the more they tried to muzzle the story, the louder the backlash got. The vibe? People are over it. The glossy Instagram posts, the cute couple selfies, the snarky Ryan Reynolds tweets, they're not landing the same way anymore. Instead, they feel like smokescreens. A desperate attempt to cover up the fact that behind the curtain, Blake might just be the ultimate Hollywood manipulator. But the icing on the cake? The one move that has everyone talking? The alleged stunt with Time magazine and the now infamous Wintour accusation. If there was ever any doubt about how far Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are willing to go to keep their names sparkling, Anna Wintour just blew that out of the water. According to whispers out of the Condé Nast empire, Wintour, the fashion queen herself, allegedly exposed Blake and Ryan for strong-arming Time magazine to secure Lively a spot on the Time 100 list. Not for merit, not for influence, but purely to rehab Blake's crumbling reputation in the middle of the lawsuit fallout. And here's the thing. If anyone knows how these backdoor deals work, it's Anna Wintour. She's been the gatekeeper of elite media circles for decades. So, when the Queen of Vogue allegedly calls you out for bullying a publication into honoring you, that's about as brutal as it gets. Industry insiders claim the push was relentless, that Blake and Ryan didn't just suggest it, they demanded it, leveraging their relationships, calling in favors, and making it clear that a spot on that list wasn't optional. The alleged motive? To create a media distraction big enough to drown out the bad press circling around the lawsuit and the It Ends With Us scandal. But here's the part they didn't count on. People can smell desperation. And when the story broke that Wintour herself might be behind the scenes, raising the alarm on how this all went down, the backlash doubled. The situation has sparked a much bigger conversation across Hollywood about the integrity of awards lists, magazine covers, and power rankings that claim to spotlight achievement. Because if Blake Lively can allegedly muscle her way onto a list that's supposed to honor real impact, what does that say about the system as a whole? It's not just embarrassing, it's a wake-up call for the entire industry. But as this scandal keeps spiraling, the question everyone's asking is simple. How much damage has Blake Lively already done to her own legacy? And who's going to call her out next? The unfolding drama surrounding Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and the alleged Time 100 incident offers a glimpse into the complex interplay of power, influence, and ethics in Hollywood. It prompts a critical examination of how personal relationships can impact professional decisions and public perception. As the legal battles continue and more details emerge, this saga serves as a stark reminder of the responsibilities that come with celebrity status and the importance of accountability in the public